Report, Jimmy Toscano, Bobby Manning.
What's up?
What's up? Your host, John Zannis. Josue Pavon in Dallas. The dude went to Dallas.
Yeah, that's right. He's on the pavement down there, man.
He's a Magic fan. He's a
Who's on
Luka
pavement?
Magic fan.
Well, he was disappointed tonight then.
Yeah, and he wanted to check it out. I'm gonna we'll get into Luka in a minute. We're gonna welcome in also Sherrod Blakely, who we love having on the show. What's up, Sherrod?
What's up, guys? Can you hear me okay?
What's up, man?
We got you. Yeah.
Loud and clear.
We just
Okay,
got
good.
started, and we've said nothing. So bounce back.
Well,
win.
that would be about what Luka said with his play tonight.
Yeah,
Nothing.
exactly. So we could start there because I was going to get there eventually. First off, a get-right bounce-back, much-needed game for the Celtics, and they did it with the way that we know that they need to do it, which is, kind of lead with your defense. And what did we say before? If you're not shooting great, bail yourself out with your D. And they weren't shooting
Exactly.
awesome in the beginning. It really wasn't until they got into the bench there and they started to kind of figure things out and shots started falling. But they went through the steps. They got through with their defense and they moved the ball well. Almost every three-point basket made was on an assist. It was assisted throughout the night. I think the first unassisted three was a Tatum one in the fourth quarter. So that's what they were doing before. That's the good stuff. Okay, that's getting back to what I had on the thing. We'll get into Luka's absolute dog-ass no-show performance, but start with the C's. Fine, lesser opponent, has some people out. Luka was, faking an injury all night long or whatever he was doing, but they still did what they're supposed to do.
Well, the thing that jumped out to me, and I was going between the broadcast on TV and I also had League Pass going on my computer. League Pass on my computer had much better sound of what was happening on the floor. The Celtics did a hell of a job communicating. I don't know if I've heard them this demonstrative with Rob talking, with Marcus talking, making sure that they were all on the string.
It was the Grant
defensively.
Williams text
and
message
that's something
that fired
that,
them up.
When you... Yeah.
They were like, lose my
No,
number.
go ahead.
Where's my number, bro?
We'll get to that too. But go ahead, Sherrod. You're right.
No, they
fired up.
were good.
Yeah.
I'm just shocked that they came up in the first 5 minutes, John. That's right up there with talking about Jaylen Brown. I thought we were going to do that into the back end. No, they did a good job of communicating. Exactly. They did a good job of communicating, which I was pleasantly surprised to see because that's a big part of being a really good team defensively. And that's what they have to be if they're going to have dog nights like this where they don't exactly play great basketball, but they win going away because they were locked in at that end of the floor.
And you know me, Sherrod. I don't do the supposed to, sort of stuff you're going to cover. What's fun to talk about. What's fun to talk about is that Luka faked an injury all night and he was going to either mail it in, and blame whatever the hell was going on with him, or be a hero late. He didn't get either of those options. It always bugged the Michael Jordan flu game. I always thought was the biggest farce in history too, but I'm not going to get into that.
Shocker.
Farce.
Well, it wasn't
absolute.
flu. It wasn't the flu.
It was food
stomach
poisoning.
problems. Yeah.
Absolute.
Did you say flu or fluke? I didn't.
The fluke.
The fun stuff is that. The fun stuff is Grant Williams' text message. That stuff's hilarious to me, but, it's freaking hilarious. Good thing Grant played well tonight, I'll tell you that.
He did. I especially love his activity around the glass because, Grant is not the longest guy out there. And so rebounding, I've always felt was going to be a challenge for him at this level. But he mixed it up in there, used his body to actually create space and play bigger than he actually is. And it was great to see. They needed a game like this to remind themselves of how you need to play night in and night out. They really did.
Yeah, I hadn't seen much involvement from him in recent weeks. He actually thought of him for the first time in a while here tonight, and he had I thought, sensational game. He's probably the brownie winner tonight, I'd imagine. Getting in the lane, making those passes, scoring off the dribble, hitting a couple shots. White was good. You got a lot of guys involved in this
I thought
game.
Dirk was good.
And they tried to hunt him on defense, and he acquitted himself well. And obviously, he had that great help side block on was it Dinwiddie?
Yeah,
great. Derek White showed out. Malcolm Brogdon had a bounce back. He needed it, but we were joking about it. I know, the Grant Williams feels like a back end of the show sort of thing. I don't think so because we were talking about it. And Bobby and I did this on
He's
Spaces.
an important guy to get involved.
Bobby and I did this on Spaces the other night. Like, it's not a flaw. It's not a fault. It just is who people are. Your top two players on this team, you know, who Ime desperately tried to make captains last year and who were like, yeah, pass. Just that they're not getting your face fired up guys. They talk like this and they don't really get fired up, and this is just how it goes, and blah blah. And other than that, you got Marcus. You know, well, we had a good game. It's just the energy, I thought. But and then you got Marcus, who it's just eventually like you got to hear from someone other than Marcus. You know, Al's a quiet leader, Malcolm's a quiet leader. The only other guy who yaps is Grant, but he's just not good enough to get in the faces of people. But he still does it to his credit. The question is, how is it received? And so, like when they said that early in the game, like Grant sent a group text to his teammates, like, you know, like you got to have better body language. He's right. But oh my God, did you guys just imagine the collective eye roll from everybody checking their phones?
John, that's exactly where I was going, like, John. That's exactly where I was going.
Oh my
like,
God,
Grant again? Damn.
You know that, like,
Grant?
You know, like, Tatum just looked at that and was like, yeah, I'm not even going to respond.
Yeah, put the phone down.
Yeah.
But what's
Jalen, do you have this number? Do you have this number?
I love the fact that Grant is confident enough to do that. I love that about him.
I'm sorry, I don't have this number.
How did Bobby Manning get our phone number?
I don't have this number entered in my phone. Who is this?
Hey, we did talk about body language.
Well, we did. It's just a matter of what's funny.
I love Grant.
I love that
about Grant, though.
Grant will get like the credit. You know, it's a whole like team
someone had
thing.
to do it.
But it's funny.
I love that about Grant.
When you win, it was the team meeting. When you lose, the team meeting did nothing. But really, oftentimes, it's just what happened.
Remember the Orlando one? It wasn't all that effective.
Yeah. It really is just what happened next. You know, it doesn't really mean anything. But Grant, you know, we'll get, like, people will talk about, oh, he did it, you know, like.
Someone had to do, again, we watched that Oklahoma City game. No one was responding to what was going on the floor visually.
Right. I mean, we've said it before on the show that if this isn't anytime recent, but at the time where people were questioning if the Celtics had anybody who wanted to be a leader, like remember the whole captain situation, we said, hell, if Grant wants to do it, if nobody else wants it and Grant wants to be some level of a leader and be a vocal leader, great. At least somebody wants it. Yeah, at least somebody wants it aside from Marcus.
Sure. I agree, Jimmy.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes it's
Grant,
like,
I mean,
it might be the right message.
How he can contribute.
Yeah, no, sorry, Sherrod.
Go ahead, Jimmy. It might be the right message. Go ahead, Jimmy. You got it.
I was going to say, it might be the right message, wrong messenger type situation. You know, you kind of want to hear that from the guys at the top. But at the same time, I think he's established himself enough within the team where he has, he can say something. It's just that he talks so much where you almost wonder, and this is coming from somebody who knows that feeling, but he almost talks so much. You almost wonder
I was going to say, Jimmy.
Actually listening.
What? Jimmy talking about someone talking too much? What the hell is this?
I've been there, Grant.
Grant's just... Yes, you have. Grant's just trying to figure out his role. I think that ultimately has to be part of his whole process of doing this kind of stuff, because he's not going to be the guy that's going to score 30 points. He's not going to grab 10, 15 rebounds. He's not going to drop 10 dimes. He's going to be the guy that hopefully behind the scenes will plant some seeds of confidence in these guys to do some things that they should know they should be doing, but sometimes they need a little nudge and a reminder of who they are and what they should be about. And Grant, maybe that's his role with these guys. Is that $15 million a year? Probably not. But it's a role.
Ask Bobby. It's bigger than that.
No. I've settled that 15 too. I think that's very solid. But
you came down?
Bobby, and if you're selling at 15, I'm like, welcome. Because I do remember you were a little bit on the north side.
But tonight's what you should expect from Grant night in, night out, at least statistically. 12, 4, 3. That's what you're looking for from him. Good defense, active playmaking, and just being in the mix. He's just been standing out there the last couple weeks, not getting the ball, and seeing him play make out of the corners was so important tonight.
But this is a low key. You know, this is a much more passive version of Marcus saying, kind of like everyone knows the Jays are going to shoot when they get the ball. You know, like they got to get everybody involved or else it's not going to work. And we had the same conversation last year of right message, wrong messenger, or was it the right messenger? We were kind of split on this, on whether or not, he should say that, whether or not it's received well, whether it, and almost it doesn't matter if it's true or not true. It's not like Grant called them all out or went in a post game here. He sent a text message, but then he told people about it, or so it's out there now.
Yeah, who announced that?
They said it on the broadcast, but I don't know what the source was. But he's right. So it's twofold.
Grant came over the desk and was like, I sent the text.
Yeah.
I think Grant has
They were
enough
part of the
kind
group text that he sent out. What are you talking about? They were on it. Scout's like, whoa, okay.
They said on NBC. That's why I missed it.
No, on TNT.
Oh,
These
said
guys
TNT.
know who Grant. These guys know who Grant is. I don't think this would have landed poorly. At worst, it was like a ha Grant.
Right.
But when we talk about it ourselves, like a lot of people hate body language conversations. They hate them because it's like, what do you guys know assessing body language? Anytime somebody talks about it at like Patriots camp or something like that, everyone thinks it's agenda driven. Like anyone can interpret body language anyway. And I think a lot of fans get defensive when we talk about body language and the importance of it. And we talked about it again, I think a couple shows ago, and Bobby and I on Spaces. You just can't have it doesn't matter what line of work you're in. You can't have your best players or your leaders be like, everything is terrible, because it's really hard to follow those guys into battle when that's the case. That could be, like I said, you could be in an office, and if your boss is like, we're screwed, guys, we didn't get the account, we're screwed, I don't know what we're going to do. Everyone's going to panic and start looking for another job. Like, you can't do that. Right. So, like, it matters, and it's noticeable, and like it is kind of like on Tatum and Brown to like be versions of themselves that they're not necessarily comfortable being sometimes, in order to kind of pull guys out around them, because they're still putting up points and buckets and getting their numbers. Not saying selfishly that's their contribution, but everybody else has really struggled and languished over the last month plus. You've seen a lot of people's play dip. It's those guys in. Yeah. It's those guys' responsibility to lift them up, both with their attitudes and, as Tatum did tonight, share the ball, get them involved, give it, you'll get it back, trust the process, don't think you have to do everything by yourself. You can't forget that. And that's what was working early, and that's what I think wasn't working late.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I think when you start thinking about the really great superstar upper echelon players, the one thing that they all do to varying degrees is they make their teammates better. I mean, when you start talking about the all-time greats, that's what they do. Anyone in this league can score, rebound, defend, and pass, but can you make teammates better? That's the toughest thing to do.
Totally.
Because that's literally the one thing you can't directly control. And Tatum, I thought this was a perfect example of Tatum making the guys around him better and still wound up with a freaking triple-double.
Right.
There aren't enough nights like this, because when you look back at the two games they lost, one game, Tatum and Brown had just as many field goals as the rest of the entire team total. And in the other game, they had 2 less field goals made than the rest of the entire team total while shooting better than 50%. They got theirs. They made their impact, but they didn't really make the guys around them better. This was a great example of how you do that. Now, can you do this every night? Of course not. But you should have more nights like this than not, because of your talent and because of the willingness of the guys around you to follow your lead. Nobody is trying to take Tatum or Jalen shine. They just want to get in where they fit in. And it's up to Tatum and Brown to continue to do a better job of making sure guys get those opportunities and make the most of it. And when they don't, get on their asses about that. If you got 3 open shots, keep shooting. Make it. Build confidence in those guys. I don't think they do that as consistently as they should.
Well, who set the tone defensively tonight? Because that's where it started. You look at the first 3 possessions there, locking down, turning those into points. You get White going downhill on the 3rd or 4th play of the game there. That just spread and festered throughout the game. Like 20 points allowed first quarter, 26 in the second, 19 in the third. This is who this team is.
They were a really active defense. I wouldn't put it on one person. It had those vibes of like 6 guys on the court, like from last year.
That's right.
Where there's a ton of activity and movement, where it felt like they were buzzing, where no matter what, you could keep passing and working it, and you were never going to find an open shooter or an open lane to go. They were really active throughout, instead of kind of standing around and late to switch or kind of passively, helping or hedging or whatever.
They were pre-switching early. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were anticipating the pick and roll game that
They
out
were
there.
on it. They were already in the spot. Totally different than a lot of the defense where they were playing, where they were slow to react or miscommunicating, and they were, the OKC game with the basically like a layup drill. Totally different defensive vibe.
Yeah. They were. I mean, I go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
No, I mean definitely different defensive vibe, and it all again to me it came down to just how active they were out there. Like you just said, they were quicker to their rotations, helping out. A couple of good double teams when they needed to. The Mavericks are not a team. I mean, they're a one man band. I mean,
Yeah.
if Luka's not scoring 30 plus, they're not winning that game, and he certainly what did he end up with 23. I mean, that's about as automatic of a win as you're going to get if Luka Doncic is at 23 points. So this is how it should have looked 2 days ago. To be completely honest, they should have worked the Thunder start to finish. I think if Luka was held out of this game before it started, I think the Mavericks probably win. The Celtics show up without any heart.
Yeah.
And
We
they
joked
lose.
about that in the spaces,
Yeah,
didn't we?
I recycled that from Tuesday or whatever day it is now.
No, but you knew you were going to get primetime Tatum tonight.
But you didn't though. You didn't right away.
You
got
didn't quite,
nothing
but you
from
knew you'd
those
get them to
guys
be
in the first
serious.
half.
Yeah.
He shot poorly, but he ends with a
Yeah,
triple-double,
they
which
showed
is
up
what they needed.
doing when they needed to.
Yeah, they rebounded, they
When they needed
defended, they
to.
passed.
On the defensive end is where they, clearly that was the message going into this game. And it's too bad for the Mavericks because there was no way the Celtics were going to put together a performance even close to the one in Oklahoma City. So it was bad timing for them, and the Celtics came out and they did their thing, and they played up to their potential on both ends. I mean, obviously we know that Tatum and Brown can take over more so than they did tonight, but the bench actually showed up tonight. I mean, that's something that hasn't happened that often either. And, Derek White showed up. Grant Williams showed up. Those are the guys, Malcolm Brogdon. He was hitting his threes tonight. So those are the three guys, when you think about the bench, those are the three guys that come to mind. And if they're, contributing, especially early on in the game, it takes the onus off of Jalen and Jason, and those guys can maybe focus a little bit more and spend less energy on the offensive end and more of it a little bit on the defensive end.
Yeah, it was a give the game what it needs sort of game for those guys. I mean, Jalen, this is almost a throwaway game for Jalen because the foul trouble just messed up his whole night. He could never get it going. He picked up the two early, picked up the third quick. He was on the bench. While he was out there, he was trying to force it with his limited opportunities. It was a lot of those contested mid-range, and they just weren't falling. He just never got going and then got a little bit going late. Tatum, too, was taking almost unnecessarily difficult shots early. He didn't need to do that. I think when he stopped a little bit, he... again, it wasn't great, but I think he started 4 of 13 and he finished, 4 of 9 or whatever to close the game. Still not great, but he got to the free throw line a ton, and then he just started passing. Then he started working the ball. You actually saw when he stopped trying to kind of get his or just be the guy or attack matchups that it was just better. So once they got out of that, I think in the early going, the offense started to flow totally differently.
Yeah, and I thought Tatum, point blank, he just attacked. He wasn't attacking looking to take advantage of a mismatch. He was just aggressive and getting to the free throw line, kicking it out to guys wide open in the corners, doing all those little things that put so much stress on the defense that they didn't know what the hell to do with him. You can't give him a jump shot. He's beating us off the dribble. He can finish at the rim. And if we take that ability to finish at the rim away, he's finding guys wide open and they're knocking down shots. This is where Tatum becomes top 5 Tatum. Not so much in the efficiency of his offense, but the effective impact that he makes as both a scorer and a playmaker. This was this was a really good game for Tatum. The numbers won't say that, but when you start breaking down the things that he was able to do and the stress that he put on that Dallas defense, pretty much the entire game, that is what you want. That is what you're going to need if you're going to have a team that's going to go deep into the playoffs and not have, 2 guys lead a bunch of guys, to the second round of the playoffs.
Yep. Catherine, thank you here. Totally agree. Again, you're right. where the Celtics get in trouble, too much dribbling. The less they dribble, the more they pass, the less they turn it over. The better quality shots they get, the more assisted baskets they get. And again, even a night where they did not shoot lights out, it was good. But again, it's under 40% for three. It was 37. It's much better than it was. It was over 40. I think missed a couple late. A better shooting night, but again, that has to be a result. It's not just one of those, the shots fell. The caliber and the quality of shot was definitely better tonight, and that had to do with how they were working working the ball on offense. We're going to keep going. We're also going to hit Josue up at some point or another. From Dallas, he's out there talking to everybody. Maybe he gets a chance to talk to Kemba, who I forgot existed until he came out and hit a bucket and then went away. But we'll tell you, I literally forgot.
Kemba.
I love him. I forgot he was alive. Yeah,
he had one awesome game for them a couple weeks ago, and then he got he had knee pain after that.
Yeah. We do want to tell you about a couple of our sponsors here. We'll start with Athletic Greens, which by now you know a lot about them. But again, new year, you want to get started on the right track, get your kind of health right. Athletic Greens is a great way to start. And I know a lot of you already in the first few days, we've gotten quite a few orders with people jumping in here and taking advantage of the offer. But again, you guys out there looking for different supplements to boost your immune system, improve your gut health, energy, recovery, focus, mental clarity, all of those things. There's a million different things you can take that will address each one of them. Athletic Greens addresses it all. It's 75 vitamins and minerals, one scoop. You put it in a cup of water to start your day. No sugar, very low calorie, keto friendly, paleo friendly, doesn't matter, vegan, fits with any diet plan. You just take it and you start your day and you're off and running. It's terrific. It is, super, endorsed product, medical professionals, athletes, celebrities, what have you. So get in on the action now. Time to reclaim your health. Start with Athletic Greens. If you go to athleticgreens.com/garden, that's the important part for us. That's how you can get this free gift, one year supply of vitamin D, 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. If you go to athleticgreens.com/garden, we'll send that to you. We will also send you a phenomenal t-shirt. We have just printed and started releasing round 2. A bunch of them went out in the last day or so. So those of you who missed it in the first round of ordering, you will get it. And those of you who've ordered here since the new year, you will also get your free t-shirt as well. If you support any of our sponsors here at CLNS Media, we will reward you with a prize because we do appreciate you supporting.
Prize, all right.
Yeah, you supporting our sponsors. So thanks, guys. So other thoughts from this game, guys. Again, we mentioned Kemba Little and talked a little bit about Luka. What was that with Luka?
I don't know. I thought he was actually hurt.
The chest or something?
Well, I thought he was hurt because he went to the locker room for...
That was for the ankle, right?
Right.
He went for the ankle, but then he came back and he was like...
Right. That's the weird...
I got the black lung pop.
Yeah. Zoolander, nice. I honestly have no idea. I mean, you kind of alluded to the fact that he was faking it, John, earlier. So I don't know how true that would be.
Something seemed off.
Yeah. It did seem off.
I don't know, man.
It's a weird game because Luka is one of those guys that's just he historically has just been a gamer. I mean, bad Luka could still get you 30 and 5 and 7. But he never seemed into this game at all. No. And I don't know whether it was just it may very well be a health thing.
From the jump.
But I think, just watching the way Marcus Smart and the rest of those guys were just swarming at him, you don't see too many teams that aggressively attack Luka defensively. Sending multiple bodies at him, forcing him to give the ball up way quicker than he normally is. And the thing that he gets away with a lot of times, and the Celtics must have picked up on this clearly, is that a lot of times he'll beat his man off the dribble and he'll make a move to the basket and he'll be immediately looking to pass. And the Celtics, they would take away the shot, take away the outlets that he's looking to pass to, and which led to a couple turnovers. So I thought the game plan defensively against Luka was just pretty damn good for the Celtics.
I think I agree there, Sherrod. Something early tipped Luka off that this wasn't going to go well tonight. and I felt like he bailed. Like he was like, "Oh man, I don't know, I don't know." And that's what I think. Like he's like, if it's still close, maybe I'll turn it on late, but I'm just gonna kind of, slow roll. And he still ended up with the quietest 20 points you've ever seen in the first half too. So it's not like he completely disappeared, but then he completely disappeared.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what the chest thing was. Again, I think they mentioned him getting hit there or something, but I didn't see it. I'm looking back now, still don't see it. I know they piled up stops on him early, just with some swarming defense, as you said. Derek White deserves some credit for that. Tatum got a good stop on him, mixed in there. Horford as well.
Everything was hard. Yeah, everything was hard for him.
And he's the kind of guy who likes to pick out opponents, and you can't find one. Again, we talk about White, who we always go back and forth on. If that's the guy you're going at out of the 5 out there, you're gonna have a tough time. Like he's not Hauser, he's not Robinson. Like he's not a guy that you can score on with ease. And when Hauser got out there, he was able to do that. But when they had their good defensive lineups out there, they were able to lock him down and switch and have a variety of guys stand in front of him. And he was pulling up a lot too, which I don't think you always want if you're him. You want him getting in the lane and finding guys. 3 assists is way below his standard.
I don't know. Luka, I'm disappointed. I had high hopes for a Luka Magic game. We were spoiled because he's had so many good ones against the Celtics.
It's fun to watch, right?
Oh, yeah.
He is definitely fun to watch.
You can't not be an NBA fan and not want to, kind of get fired up for these types of matchups. So it was a little disappointing that he was off early on. I don't see enough of these games with Luka to know, he's a European guy. I don't know if he gets a little bit cranky out there, a little emotional. Like you said, if he gets pouty.
What does that have to do with anything?
I don't want him to know.
Yeah,
But
Europeans, like soccer guys.
Jimmy taking out an entire continent of fans.
Yeah, that's the style. That's their style of play.
That's the
But see, Luka, but that's not Luka's style of play. Luka is an absolute assassin.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
And that's why this
Jimmy,
game
do you
is such
remember
a...
when you went to Parisians and they didn't like it? Oh my
when
goodness
things aren't
gracious!
going when things aren't going his way, though.
What do you say about Paris?
He talked about
I
snooty
said
French people, and he got.
I remember.
I said the French were assholes.
The CLNS phone lines lit up.
I said the French were kind of douchey.
That was the first time I had to put my HR,
I stand by that. Actually.
I had to put my HR hat on and be like, Jimmy, I need to talk to you for a second.
Come in my office, son.
Come in my office.
Nothing good ever happens when they say
bad.
come in my office.
Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
I don't know. Listen, I just don't know why. I mean, John, you're the one who alluded to they went all pouty on everybody. I didn't really think that.
He's a pouty guy for sure.
Yeah,
but
He's definitely moody. When you look at some of the texts that he picks up,
yeah,
he's moody. He's cranky. I didn't think he was gonna give up. But
also,
let's bring it back to the defense conversation.
No,
we
hold
saw
on.
the Celtics do this to Kevin Durant last year. We've seen them do this to stars. Giannis at times. Yeah, I know he got his in that series, but they make it tough on these guys when they're at their best defensively. I think everyone's going to have a tough time against them. Doesn't matter if it's a Jokic, who they've given issues in the past, playing at their highest level, not in the last game. But Luka, they're capable of doing this to them. Again, they ran away from this team last game, too. I know Luka got his in that one, but
he did.
This Dallas team, I think it's pretty manageable to be able to throw bodies at Luka and take the other guys out of the game, given the personnel that they have. I mean, they just did not have anyone running with him and being able to pick up that baton when he got taken out.
That's what I was going to say, though.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
No, just real quick, I was going to say, I think Luka probably does get frustrated when he looks around and it's just like, I can't hit every shot.
Who are these
guys? Can anybody else? This is like kind
especially
of
with some of the stuff Wood does, yeah.
Kind of what Kevin Durant said to everybody earlier this year, like, look at our roster. You know what I mean? Like, Luka hasn't said that, but on the TNT broadcast earlier, they basically said that he needs to kind of inspire his guys to not have to wait for him to do everything. Like give them a little of, I don't know, motivation or self-confidence that they don't need him to hold their hand. They don't need to stand around and wait for him to get them into everything, or they don't need him to bail them out every single time. I mean, there are some talented players on that team. Obviously, the roster is not where it needs to be. I mean, you hope that they don't waste him for too many more years, because obviously he's a top 5 talent, arguably higher up in this league, could be the best player in the league on any given night. So you'd think that they can get some talent around him and compete.
Yeah, Celtics are uniquely, I think, uniquely equipped to match up with a guy like Luka, because you can literally throw almost any body at him.
Even Hauser.
But yeah, he's got, and you're right. The broadcast, they were talking about that, like it's ride or die with Luka, and I mean, he's that singularly talented that. Right. I mean, he can carry them, but you guys, was it you guys who put it in the? Maybe you put it in the text or not, but just looking at their 7 straight wins, it wasn't exactly a murderer's row of teams. Like, yeah, Luka and a bunch of, it's the Moses Malone thing. I could take 4 guys off the street and beat these bums, these Boston Celtics way back in the day. Like, Luka can beat, can single-handedly beat a lot of teams just by being Luka.
You need a miracle to beat the Knicks.
Yeah, but you bring in a team like the Celtics that has depth, or one of the really quality teams. They're gonna bump their heads on that ceiling. It's gonna be difficult. Right. And we're sitting here like, who's gonna be the third option on the Celtics? And Luka's just like, I could go with the number 2 right now. You're looking at Dinwiddie or Wood, who's been playing really well. They're nice pieces, but they're definitely short of talent and firepower. So the burden's entirely on him. One thing I wanted to ask you guys. What did you think? And for those watching the TNT broadcast, who watched the TNT broadcast?
No offense to CSI.
So they did a Joe Mazzulla little mic'd up moment on the bench.
Oh yeah, in the huddle, yeah.
Which I loved, because we talk about how quiet Joe is. He wasn't yelling at them. It was good words of encouragement, but also
that's what I want to see.
Teaching moment of like. So it doesn't always have to be like you're playing like assholes, play the opposite. Sometimes it's see what you're doing now, do that always. And that's kind of what that speech was there from Joe after the game, or during the game. And we got video coming from Dallas from our intrepid reporter, Josue, from the Joe Mazzulla press conference. Here's Joe talking about the kind of turnaround in the effort and the way that they played tonight versus how they'd been playing.
No, I mean, I think you want to enjoy the fact that we played well and we did a lot of good things, but at the same time, we got to develop habits. And so I thought, when we're at our best, we play really good basketball on both ends of the floor with high effort for a long period of time, and then we go through a couple games where we lose that. And so what I love about tonight was we did bounce back. Can we do it over and over again to develop those great habits?
So that's the question. What I always fall back on with the Celtics is I still believe their best game beats everyone else's best game. But I believe their ability to play their worst game or to lapse into this stuff, you want to believe it's something that they're over, but it's not. And it comes up and you have these just infuriating press conferences like you had last game. We didn't come out. We didn't help each other. We didn't play with energy, which I can't stand. Why is the answer? Why is the question? Why didn't you? Like, we can all see that you didn't. One, don't say we because you're blaming a bunch of other people. Say I could do this. I could do that. I need to be better. But 2, why are we not certain that they will come back or they will continue to play this way? And again, it's 82 games. It's not going to be all of them, but patches, stretches. We're talking about really inconsistent play for 15 games now. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, why can't they self-motivate? Is it because they believe like we believe that they're good and they'll just get there when they want to get there?
We've talked about them reading all the good things they hear about them and all that kind of stuff, particularly against an opponent like the Thunder, as we talked about, that it didn't seem like they were going to provide much resistance that night. These games, they'd perform better, and certainly here. So you see their capabilities when they're able to self-motivate and go into those habits that are difficult, getting into the lane and multiple layers of ball handling. The defense, certainly, I think, to start this year, we're like, what is going on with that? You guys point out effort, and it seems like that was the culprit, that they just weren't trying hard enough or executing on that end with enough urgency. And you see in a game like this what they're capable of on both ends of the floor. It's frustrating. Even in the second half, they let go of the rope in a 29, 28-point game, got down to 15. They'll have these situations where there's like 6 minutes to go and they'll just start killing clock. I don't know if that's a coaching thing or if that's just them on the floor trying to run out the game. They take the easy way out sometimes. Even on possessions, they'll fire up shots that you're like, what are they doing? I remember Luka was hurting the moment where he was really trying to catch his breath.
That was crazy.
And they just start firing threes. They don't even go at him.
Without working it, without going at him. It was weird, actually. I was really annoyed at that point in the game.
And that was the biggest difference in the second half was just the deviation from great ball movement to ball stoppage. In the first half, it was 4, 5, 6, 7 passes before a shot. Early in the second half, it was 2, 3, maybe, before the shot went up. And the shots that they were taking in the second half were good shots, but that's the difference between taking good shots from great ones. In the first half, lots of great shots, and they passed up a lot of good ones to get to that great one. They didn't have that same kind of patience and focus in the second half, and that's why, again, they won the game going away, but they could have put this thing to bed a lot sooner if they would have just stuck to the script that got them that big-ass lead in the first half.
And let me defend Joe after he got killed so bad here a couple of days ago. Adjustments, 3 guard lineups, flipping minutes to Grant and Brogdon over White and Horford.
Joe was good.
He was good, and you point out the things he was saying in the huddle there. This wasn't on Joe. Look at the players. I know you guys love them.
No,
look at the players.
I mean, again, you know where I stand there.
It was so ridiculous on Tuesday, the Joe stuff.
It's just easy. It's just low hanging fruit. Joe, fix it. Sometimes, it's the players. It's always the players. Again, you're gonna prop these guys up and talk about how great they are, best duo in the league, all NBA. We love these guys. Look at the maturity. They're growing, love and trust. Then it's on them. Like, if they're that good, they're battle tested. They're in year 7 and 6 in the league. Marcus Smart's a veteran leader. Marcus is, you're gonna prop them up. They got to accept responsibility when things go to shit. It doesn't make any sense to all of a sudden tell me how great the players are, and then turn to the coach and say it's his fault when they play bad. And Jimmy makes the best analogy with this all the time. It's kids whose parents whose kids can't do any wrong. And it's got to be somebody else's fault, so it's got to be the coach. It's the players. When they get their shit right and they self-motivate and they go out there and they take it serious. Joe can't get the guys moving their feet on defense. They know what they're supposed to do.
Let me put it like this.
They know they're supposed to be active. They know they're supposed to switch. They know they're supposed to anticipate what's going on. They know they're supposed to have each other's back and help. They know they're supposed to work the ball on offense and not just come down and jack the first shot that they see. They know these things. You can't coach them in the second. It's not like he's in their earpiece saying, don't shoot that one. There's only so much you can do to prepare them, and then they go out and they do it, and there's nothing you can do there.
Think of it this way. Is anyone looking at the Celtics saying they can win a championship because of that coaching staff? Or like the lack?
No, it's the player. Exactly.
No one looks across the league and says that. Otherwise, Popovich and the Spurs would be in the it's the players.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead. I was going to say, Jimmy, you can continue your comment. We got to get a little sexier on this show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I could just also wait for that.
No, we got to get. So we're going to bring in.
There he is.
This guy.
I don't know.
Damn.
That's a diss for Jimmy or just.
Nah.
Well, they're not removing Jimmy.
Pat on the back for
adding
me.
to it.
I think it's a pat on the back for you. I'm going to take it that way.
Pat on the back for you. Jimmy can finish his point, but we wanted to bring Josue in.
I don't even remember what my point. What were we just talking about?
We were talking coaching.
Oh. Yeah, it wasn't that
Jimmy
important.
heard sexiness is just mine.
It wasn't that
Jimmy's
important. No, I would say a good coach. I think a good coach can take a great team over the top, or a good coach can take a bad team and make them better. But it's not make or break. I don't think it's just not. I mean, everyone knows who the great coaches are. Popovich. Who else we got?
Rick Carlisle. Come on now.
Spoelstra, Carlisle. Yeah, everyone knows the good ones. And there was guys that are around for a long time for a reason, but at the end of the day, Popovich will tell you that he had some of the best players he ever could have imagined, but certainly he had some level of effect on them.
Right. Well, those guys built a culture, though, right? I mean,
right.
I don't think anyone.
And that's why a coach is important too. I think.
Right, and I think that's why this transition was easy from the start, because these guys built that foundation, built off what they did last year. I mean, the trip to the NBA Finals, pulling that 180. So yeah, I mean, I caught towards the end of what John was saying. It is a player thing. I mean, no one's looking at Missoula and thinking like, man, what are you going to do to get these? How are you going to change everything on your own? But I think what I was asking at least a couple of nights ago was, what's he going to do to plant that seed? And I think what he did here in Dallas was huge. Not calling guys out, but more of the way Marcus said it, just talking to, as a collective unit, talking to the quote unquote the other guys, right, the complementary players, and just telling them, like, hey, you guys got to step it up. Whether the starters, get out to a cold start, or whether they're red hot and they need you to carry on that momentum. So I think that message was necessary, and obviously only Joe Mazzulla could do that, and he did before this one.
The biggest thing coaches can avoid doing in order to just get the respect of their players is be authentic. Because when you are fake, players going to see right through that, and when they see right through that, they're just going to keep going and ignore you. And Joe is not a yeller. Joe is much more of I think an old school traditional teacher type coach, where rather than break you down and build you back up, he's just going to just smooth you out a little bit when you get a little ruffled, and not just be demonstrative and all that. And that's fine. But you have to make sure you're consistent with that. And even in that Oklahoma City game, I mean, I never got a feel that Joe was doing anything to turn the tide even the tiniest bit. This game, on the other hand, you could see that there was some clear teaching going on throughout the game, before the game, in preparation, and the players were locked in. And again, I agree that the players have a major significant part in the success of a team. But if anyone could coach a team, then anyone would be doing that job. And we've seen a lot of really good teams where the wrong coach with the wrong temperament,
it's not anyone
with the wrong ability or lack of ability.
Well, we know Joe's ability.
It's not anyone. I think the variance is on it ends up being more on the back end of like the people who are just ill-fitted completely to coach, who are either disingenuous, not prepared, mixed messages, can't communicate with the room. Of course, all of that stuff matters. Joe is prepared. Joe's close to their age. Joe's somebody that definitely can reach players. All of that stuff matters.
We've seen the examples of the work ethic too with him.
And the work ethic, and you know that he's there. So I think he has a lot of that going for him, and they believe that he's genuine. I just mean the Joe, get them to play better thing. I think that thing, like the coach is just going to immediately say these magic words and turn them around in the middle of a game. Sometimes it doesn't happen. And Joe has proven, both through his timeout approach and a game like OKC, he's like that parent who's just going to sit there and say, sorry, son, you're going to have to go fight that guy and get your ass kicked. And that's just that. I'm not bailing you out here. And you'll learn from that. Just go get your ass kicked and then see what happens after that. That's how he does it.
We can assess assess the job he's done after the season, but what do we have right now in front of us? 27-12.
Yeah. Where you're worried a younger coach is going to run into is, like I said, I think you're always worried about Joe if there are situations where he has to either, discipline or change something or remove a star or do something that's not going to sit well with an important player in that room, and whether he can do that. That would be one. And then two, adjustments. When a team, like what happened with the Celtics in the finals, with the way that Golden State was playing defense on them, were they able to adjust? Was Ime able to adjust? Get them to do different things, play different lineups, get them to focus on different things to be able to crack whatever's being thrown at them. When you're facing those elite level coaches, the Spoelstras, and things like that, can you go for them punch for punch in those games? We're not really sure. You kind of figure a lot of that stuff out in series more than you do in individual games. So it is kind of hard to see how he's going to fare over the course of a playoff series when there is that back and forth. We kind of saw it once with Miami. Even though Butler didn't play in the first game and played in the second, kind of Miami came back, threw some different stuff at them. They were able to adjust and win that game, however many weeks ago that was.
Right. And, the way Joe Mazzulla started the press conference after the game was perfect. Great. It's good. But let's do it again. Finding that consistency, which has sort of always been what's been on everyone's mind, right? Like that historic start and the way they were playing. Well, okay, how long can that last? You know, what's going to happen when the other shoe drops? And this is sort of where we are right now in the sense of where this team's where Joe's going to navigate them in the sense of, continuing to be at the top of the Eastern Conference, or do they have another bump in the road, between now and the All-Star break? So, but I like that Joe Mazzulla is putting it out there in front of everyone, in front of the media, saying, look, I called these guys out in a sense of, no matter what the first unit does, they have to be prepared. And of course, Malcolm Brogdon was also talking about that in the locker room, saying that that starts with him, and that starts with guys coming big.
What was the rest of the reaction in the locker room, Josue?
Malcolm spoke.
Is somebody playing? Is somebody playing somebody's sound somewhere?
Someone's playing. Yeah. Okay. Let me tell it. All right. Don't listen to it. Let me tell it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Who's Bobby? Are you listening to sound?
Not me.
No, that was my bad. I didn't know. I thought it was muted.
Well, you had the biggest smile on your face. So I thought
That's
it was Bobby
Bobby.
too. Yeah.
No, that was
No,
me.
he's just
Bobby
laughing
shit.
at it.
Bobby would do that.
I was just
Something on the
scrolling
air.
Twitter. I didn't realize that my audio was on.
Yeah. So yeah, Josue, what was the general vibe?
So the general vibe, well, it's funny. Well, it's very light, as you can imagine. Everyone's in a really good mood. But it's funny that you talk about. I don't know if it was you or Sherrod, but have we ever seen Joe Mazzulla get mad at anyone? Because that's exactly what Grant said after this one. And he said, you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm probably going to be the first one he yells at. Like, we haven't, no one's seen him, yell at someone. And I told Grant, I said, Grant, the guy who says that is usually the first one because he's least expecting it. So it was really lighthearted. But it was more about the second unit. And he's like, look, man, we had to hold down the fort. Tatum and Brown didn't get out to the hottest start, but we knew going into this one that we were going to respond. That was the overall vibe. Malcolm Brogdon talked about how Jaylen Brown, they had a one-on-one between Jaylen and Malcolm had a one-on-one, and just where Jaylen's heart was at, Brogdon said he had no doubt that this team would respond in a big way, the way they did tonight, and that's exactly what we saw.
Anybody talk about the text message? I don't know if you were privy to it because it was something on the broadcast, Josue.
Yeah, it was brought up. You talking about Jaylen?
Grant sent a group text message.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He sent he talked about it briefly.
Of course he did.
Yeah. He was asked about it, but he wouldn't say exactly what it was. I mean, look.
Grant's my guy now, man. I'm done with the rest of them. Grant's my guy.
Well, between Jaylen having the one-on-one with Malcolm and Grant sending that text message, Malcolm was just like, "We're good. We're gonna crush it tonight." So that was the vibe, man. And I gotta say,
the Grant text put him over the top, Josue. The Grant text put it over the top.
I mean, Grant was glowing a bit. He was. So.
What was the Jaylen story?
Did he send it John Zannis garbled voice text style where like there was a typo every other word?
Knowing Grant, he must have triple read that. No, Bobby. Wait, what did you say about Jaylen?
The Jaylen Brett Malcolm thing you mentioned.
What are you talking about, Bobby? Sorry.
Yeah, that's what John does. No, he just said that it was a one-on-one, and after that, he told the team. He didn't ask Joe Mazzulla. He told Joe Mazzulla, "I'm guarding Luka against when in Dallas." So
who said
Joe
that?
said, "All right, sounds good." Jaylen said
Yeah.
that, and then seeing the rest of the teammates seeing him do that, and then obviously pick up those two quick fouls. Everybody wanted to help.
Yeah,
and that's a.
But they were offensive. It wasn't trying to get
that's
there.
true.
You know?
It wasn't
But
defense.
Malcolm talked about how that's big for a leader like that to step up the way he did, and of course Marcus Smart talking about he kept it 100, man. He's like, man, 2 years ago Jaylen's not doing that, right? Like Jaylen's not gonna like.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you saw him during this
Now-
game too. Say, I'm not checking out with the fouls.
Sherrod, that's what I love about Marcus. When things are going really well and they're in a really good mood,
See?
he'll let you into some shit. He'll give you some insight. And
Stick a little jab.
Yeah, but that was good.
But
That was
y'all
good.
know
And it's
2 years
true.
ago that wasn't going to happen, right? Y'all do know that, right? That wasn't going to happen.
Right.
He goes.
Yeah.
Classic Marcus. He goes. We all know Jaylen likes to, for the most part, keep to himself. So he's evolved in a big way this year as a leader, and of course, as a defender. Wanting to pick up the best player.
It's interesting to hear them say stuff, hear that be said, because you're stuck with snapshot observations, whatever you can make, both
assumptions.
by
It leads to
but,
assumptions.
I mean,
that's what happens.
Sure, but you're there and you cover things, and you have to read into stuff, from what you see and what you hear and how people talk and react. But that is a thing, like Jaylen, kind of, drifts in and out sometimes, disappears sometimes. Sometimes it's, he's going, he's at an 11 out of 10, and other times it's like, Where did he go? You know, so like sometimes you want that guy to just get out there and slap the floor and be like, let's go, you know?
Yeah, that's what we talk about when it comes
yeah.
to the leadership on the team. Like, it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be a guy yelling or saying something. It's just stuff like that. And the demeanor on the floor, the body language, like we talked about, and even Tatum's approach in terms of passing today. Those little things can really set a tone. And we talked about how those two were just 6 assists and 6 turnovers over the last month or so.
Yeah.
They weren't moving the ball like they were before, and it stemmed from those guys. They got the ball in their hands. They're going to be the ones running the offense more often than not. They changed that tonight, and we saw what they're capable of. And now they have to do it on Saturday against San Antonio, which is going to be a different kind of game.
Friggin' Romeo all up in your grill. That's going to be tough.
Hey,
Okay.
he was
Circle
mentioned.
that game.
He was
Yeah.
mentioned?
He was mentioned saying,
Right.
"Hey, San Antonio, we have to come with the same energy against the Mavericks against the Spurs because Romeo's been playing well." And I was like, "Look at Romeo."
Romeo
getting
and
mentioned.
energy. Romeo
Yeah.
and energy never went hand in hand together.
Romeo's been anointed kind of their D guy, you know?
Well, the
like,
Celtics
go
better
out
have the
there and
same
stick
energy.
that guy, you know?
Yeah,
So
He was always a good defender here.
always good.
Well,
He
yeah,
just
when
couldn't
he
friggin'
played.
do anything
love that,
consistently. Yeah.
obviously they're keeping tabs
The
on their
Romeo
old
revenge
team.
game. Watch out. Watch
Yeah.
out.
Oh,
The
he's-
Romeo revenge
We had
game.
the
He's dropping-
Neesmith revenge
he's
game,
dropping
and now we
20.
get the Romeo one.
He might
I don't
go
know
20.
about that, but let's I don't know about that.
John, you're the only
Come
guy
on.
left who.
I
After a
like
Popovich
Romeo.
After
Look,
a
man,
Popovich speech, it could happen.
you know what I like better than Romeo? I like lottery picks
Neesmith.
because that means you pick them to be good. So I'm always kind of going to wait on them to be good longer than you are someone else. And that's why you don't give up on Romeos and Neesmiths, because they were picked in the lottery. And some of those guys picked in and around that slot have become all-stars, you know? Halliburton,
boy.
a couple picks earlier, Tyler Hero.
Marcus
Those-
is out here. Sorry.
You want to hold out hope that those guys might turn into something. It didn't happen
Get
for
him on the
Romeo
show,
here.
Josue.
Might never happen. We want to tell you about Rocket
Get him
Money.
on the show.
Call him over.
Sherrod did it back in the day.
You talk about
I got
Rocket
Grant
Money.
on the show.
We'll get
That's
Grant on the
true.
show.
We'll talk about Rocket Money. Silence. Rocket
shit.
Money.
No.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, got the fiance out here. Too.
Early in the year stuff.
Oh,
This
okay,
is
get 'em
another
both
great
on.
one to line up. Rocket Money here is formerly known as Truebill. It's already saved me probably hundreds of dollars for the year. By just simply doing what it does, which is kind of managing where your money is going. I'm sure you're wasting a ton of money on subscriptions you don't know exist. 80% of people have subscriptions they forgot about. Whatever.
Sounds
Sometimes
like
you're
you,
double
too.
billed. That's just like me. Your reality is you're probably spending about $200 on the average American spends close to $200 on subscriptions, which is frigging insane. People used to complain about cable bills and they're just throwing money at stuff.
Yeah, man. Since 2020, I feel like. Yeah, that makes sense.
Half of that stuff, exactly. Half of
what's
that
everyone
stuff
subscribing
you
to?
probably forgot you did it, or the price went so high
Josue.
after you subscribed, you just haven't checked it, and you have no idea that money's been going where it's going. I was
Can't with you.
stunned that one thing I signed up for that was $8.99 was up to $27 a month when I saw that. I couldn't friggin' believe it. Canceled.
Tell us.
Actually,
Yo,
not just
Netflix
canceled.
is low key, kind of like
They
that,
did
yeah.
it too, man.
Yeah, they're up to 20, right? Is it
Oh
20
my
bucks a month?
God! Out
That's
of
why I steal
nowhere.
it.
Well,
why
they're
I
not
steal
letting
it.
that. They're not letting that happen anymore. Jimmy
hate Rocket Money.
insults all of Europe and admits to crimes on the podcast. That's what Jimmy does.
Come and get me, Netflix.
I'm right here. I'm right freaking here in Southie.
Yeah, kid.
Yeah, the Southie version. I'm ready.
You ain't
Right
from
freaking
here.
here.
If you ain't from here, I better not see you here.
So get rid of your useless subscriptions with Rocket Money now. Go to rocketmoney.com/garden. You can save hundreds a year. I already have. Once again, rocketmoney.com/garden. If you get a paid subscription to Rocket Money, again, proof of purchase. Bang,
man.
phenomenal t-shirt. That's what we do. That's how we do it here. That's how we're going to do it all year long. You support a sponsor, bang, t-shirt. That's what we do.
Are we gonna go broke giving away T-shirts?
We're losing a lot of money. Yeah.
Just making sure.
We are. We're losing a lot
I
of
want to
money.
bring up one guy, John. We bring him up every night. What's up with Rob again? No shots for 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. No assists and not letting him play make. I'll never get it. Smart threw the ball like 10 miles over his head on the alley-oop. Great defensive game from him, but offensively still, he's just not involved. Really at all.
How does a guy that... Oh, he did have one shot, Bobby. Fake news by you.
No, first 12 minutes he had no shot. It took him that long to get a shot.
Oh, okay. Okay. Still though, only one shot. Dude, if I was that tall, I'd be just shooting the ball nonstop. I'd be dunking it all over the place.
It's inexcusable to have him averaging 4 shots a game. An 80% shooter?
Are they getting? Is he just being hesitant, or are they just not looking to him enough?
They literally never touches the ball. He just doesn't touch
know.
it in
We
the
talked about this all
He doesn't
last
demand
year.
it.
He doesn't
ask
touch
for
it in the
either.
half court.
Again, is he going to get 15 shots?
They
No, but
only
it's going to
give
be more
it
than
to him
one.
in
should
a
get 8.
prime. He only gets it in a prime scoring position. It doesn't run through him naturally while they're running their offense, which is a strange thing to
Be
literally
like a
play
putback.
It's either a drive-in dish or a lob, or he gets the putbacks, but it won't work. It won't get into his hands through the normal flow of your offense. So you're playing half court 4-on-5. It's very strange just to completely eliminate him from not only. Obviously, defenders are going to sag off him. They don't think he's going to shoot a lot of the time, which honestly he could, because we've seen him, shoot
right
from
now he
12 to
can't.
15 feet. He can and he should threaten the defense a little bit with if you're going to leave me wide open, I'm going to take a friggin' free throw.
Right.
He doesn't do that, but on top of that, they just never work it through him, and he's a terrific passer. They never kind of bring him up high and give him the ball and let people work off of him, off of screens. He just doesn't touch the ball or get it into him, see what happens, see how the defense reacts, let him kick it back out. I don't get it at all. It really is bizarre.
Who's their big man coach? Who's their big man coach? Do they have one?
What, you gonna send him an email or something?
No, but he needs to get in. He needs to get in the gym with them, and just I don't know. They need to do some more. They need to do some more to get him acclimated, get him involved. I mean, he's an extremely talented big. He can jump through the roof. They should be looking for him. They should be playing through him at points. He should be bullying himself down in the paint. Throw it down to him.
He took a guy off the dribble 2 games ago, and then never touched the ball again. He got
hasn't
the ball.
since, yeah.
He got the ball in the block, faced up, took one dribble. Whoever was defending him was gone, and reverse layup. And I was like, oh my God. He did it 2 games. He did it a game before that too, where he faced up and dribble drive towards the basket, which means that's possible. It's like he's so much
We need
more
Clifford Ray
athletic.
back.
He's so much more athletic than the guys down there. I think that's something he could do. He just doesn't do it.
Yeah, I think it's
I've said
important.
it before. They need to hire Kevin Garnett. They need to hire Kevin Garnett. Light a fire on some of these guys. Get Garnett to work with Rob. Give him some low post moves, and Rob will be shooting a lot more than 1 shot a damn game very soon. That is my that is my dream. That is my dream.
Did you go outside today, Jimmy?
I did. It was a little
Kevin
chilly. I
Garnett
know.
is not.
But you know what?
Back to hang out in
They
that.
just had a West Coast road trip. KG could have joined him. He could be like, he could just join him. Yeah, a consultant on certain trips. But
Nah.
Rob needs
KG's good.
Rob needs a little fire.
KG wants nothing. He doesn't want to do that.
I know KG doesn't want to do that. But you know what? Money
I feel
talks.
like
I just saw KG like 2 minutes ago on a commercial. Come on.
They were
chilling.
just out.
Probably
They were
getting
just
so
out
much
west.
from that ad.
They were just out west. They're in Texas.
it's not
like,
about
they can-
Rob's ability. It's about an offense that's predicated on
Opportunity.
moving the ball around and getting open threes, and Rob not fitting in it, and Joe not figuring out
Well,
how
some
to fit
of
him
it's
into
his
it.
ability. We've talked about the
For
areas he needs
sure.
to improve, but we know what happened over the summer.
I
and
think
that
some of
that
it's
didn't happen.
confidence too. I think he needs to actually just be a little bit again.
Yeah, some of
When you
it's
start
his
seeing
mentality.
start seeing a couple of those shots go in, or you throw down a couple big dunks, like you start to play with a little swagger. I feel like he's tiptoeing around out there sometimes.
He's still getting in the mix of this offense too, clearly.
He has
which
no
is
idea what he's
probably
doing
part
out
of
there.
this.
He has no idea what he's supposed to be doing on offense. I want to hit on a couple more things before we wrap it. One of them happened prior to the game, and everybody's kind of like licking their chops. Oh, here comes Brad. Cue that Brad gif where he's nodding and smiling like he knows something you don't know. Everybody automatically assumes
shadows.
Brad's already got this trade cooked up. But I mean, again, Vonleh traded to the Spurs, clears a roster spot, clears cap space, clears they pays down the tax. It saves them about a $7 million money saver, Bobby.
Yeah, they
against
went
the-
from 66 to 58 or
Plus,
so.
plus
in
the
tax.
penalties, right?
Oh,
On top
good
of
for
that.
Wick.
against the tax. So is this a win for Wick? because I don't care about that, or is this just a win for the Celtics?
It's both.
I mean, I do care in the sense that if he's going to operate under
Wick
some
can
sort
give
of
out those
budget,
Christmas bonuses now.
no, but I mean, if that's going to mean he's going to spend somewhere else or go a little deeper, that's great. But what does this actually do for the roster? Like, what could it do? What does it open up other than a roster spot?
Well, there was a deadline on Saturday where his salary was going to double. Jackson's salary was going to double. So
Jackson's going to go too.
Justin
So you're
Jackson.
just shedding these guys. Yeah.
Yeah. You haven't used these guys. We talked about it a couple of shows ago. If you're not going to use these guys, get rid of them. And better to do it in a trade here where you clear the full salary off the books instead of half the salary that he's guaranteed right now. So you effectively paid the Spurs to waive him.
And the
Spurs
have salary floor issues too, right?
Yeah, so this is on their books now. Where
it's on their books. You're giving them money, but it helps them.
Yeah, you gave them cash.
Floor. Yeah,
this goes on their cap. You don't have it in your tax because if you cut him, it would have counted against your tax.
Yeah.
So what they did was save themselves some money here and clear a roster
bookkeeping.
spot. Yeah, it's
fudging
almost
the numbers a bit.
It's similar to the Wancho trade from last year in a way. It could set up something down the line, but it doesn't mean something's right now. In the meantime, you can bring up our guy Kevin Gelly. Let him get some run.
Oh, there we go.
Calvin Jelly. Yeah.
Oh, the TNT broadcast. They acted like they were like the smartest people in the world. No, they were like, oh, well, what this does is allow the Celtics to make a 2-for-1 trade now because they have an open roster spot. I was like,
it could.
Thanks for the basic. Yeah, but okay, that's
we can also do math.
Freaking math.
Yeah.
And they were like praising Brad Stevens for that. Like, or they could do a 3-for-2 trade. I was like, oh wow, they really could do a 3-for-2.
They didn't mention
trade.
the tax or anything.
Or maybe even a 4-for-3.
Yeah, exactly. I think they briefly mentioned the tax, but they had to go one
This
step
guy's
further.
smart. This guy knows what he's doing.
I was like,
well, listen.
1. Yeah, it does add up. It does make sense.
We know how these broadcasts are. I actually like Stan Van
It's like
Gundy.
a Shel Silverstein poem.
No, I like them.
4
I
is
just thought
more
that
than
was a funny
3.
part.
Right.
No, I liked him hitting on their negative play of late because you would have expected most broadcasts to be like, oh, the best record in the league, and look at what a job they've done. 17 games coming into this, they have not been the best team in the league. Tonight's really the first time you've seen them, maybe outside of that Bucks game, look like that. It looked like they're that best team in the league. So that was what was important out of tonight.
It still blows my mind that Calvin Jelly was a first-round pick. He just kind of like...
Man, I saw him in college cooking Syracuse. He was so good.
But he was good. He was a first-round pick, and he's taken in that 2019 draft. The guys taken right after him are Jordan Poole, Keldon Johnson, Kevin Porter Jr., Nick Claxton. You know,
I will say,
bang, 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 right after there. You know,
right.
I will say,
John,
at the bottom of the first round. Yeah,
it's like you say, John. It's so hard to hit. What is it? 20 through 25. Never mind 20 through 30, and it was like 4 teams hit in a row after.
Yeah.
Can we just at least have a
and then a couple picks later, the Celtics took Carson Edwards. So.
We can't even have like a moment of silence for Noah Vonleh because
we can have a moment of silence for your bold prediction for Noah Vonleh.
Oh,
what was that?
Oh, that's
gonna
why.
be my next.
Oh yeah.
Jimmy, I was gonna let that pass, Jimmy, but since you put that on Front Street,
it's not looking good for my bold prediction.
What was that again?
I don't think it's
We'll
gonna
have
happen.
to wait and hear it. We're gonna hear them all. At the end
Clever
of the year.
wordplay about Noah's Ark too. You know, there's some good stuff there.
Oh, Jimmy had that in his mind going.
Hey, Romeo flourished in San Antonio. Watch what they have Noah Vonleh doing in San Antonio.
They waved
him already, Jimmy. You can't.
You watch though.
No,
Damn it!
This is what they're gonna do at Noah.
Yep.
Bye.
All right,
Bye-bye.
so my man's a free
See you
agent
later.
now. Good.
Vonleh gave him.
He can go to the
gave
team
him those
that
good
best
minutes.
suits him. He can go to the team that best suits his capabilities.
He gave them those good minutes on opening night against Embiid. He played Bam well in that second game of the year. He was an important part of that.
They could have used him in OKC. They could.
So in other words, he's gonna get a tribute video next year. Is what you're saying?
He should. Listen, we were just talking about him a couple of nights ago. Why didn't he get at least a little bit of a chance on the nights where they definitely needed something?
Because Cornette played him right out of the rotation is what happened. Like, because they were trying to figure out between Griffin, Cornette.
Jimmy.
That's my thoughts on that take.
Just keep going, John.
Vonleh.
It's the truth. Cornette came in and played
and
great.
all of those guys.
Oh, here comes Bobby on horseback.
It sadly is true.
Jimmy's
I
on one
remember
today.
we were in Orlando and we saw this flip because they started
Here he
playing
comes.
Cornet. They started playing Cornet and
I
Sherrod.
pictured Bobby coming.
Somebody said Cornet.
Ryan him, Ryan him, Ryan him.
I just want to make this clear because they weren't playing Cornet that first week, and
Down the turn.
they put Cornet in the game and he's getting dunked on, and Sherrod's staring at me. Then week by week he just starts playing better and better, and all of a sudden he has this great start. To
I
the year.
wasn't kidding.
Dunked on twice that game, if I remember correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
I wasn't kidding.
Yeah.
Luke played him out of the rotation.
know.
He
They
did,
didn't-
and I'm not gonna lie. I thought that
They
was gonna
didn't
last
know
for like
which
2
of those
weeks.
bigs was going to be able to get 10 to 12 emergency minutes while Rob
Blake
was
too,
out.
by the way.
Huh?
Blake too.
Blake was in the
Yeah,
mix.
that's
Yeah,
what I
he
mean. It was
mentioned Blake.
Blake, Vonleh, and whatever. And then they're like, Blake's useful once a week, and I'd rather have Cornet than Vonleh. And that was it. You know, then he had that was
Oh
it.
man.
And
I
rightfully
know.
so. He earned that. He earned that for sure.
He earned it. He earned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
now
he
what
saw
do you
that.
need?
He saw that in training camp. He had to outplay him.
Ooh, commenter, good point. And his freedom,
Solid-
maybe he makes a return.
In order to solidify that roster spot.
Do
he
that
had to
noise
outplay
again,
Vonleh.
Jimmy.
Do that noise.
I don't think that's happening.
Ennis
either,
is making
folks.
more money at Fox than Brady will when he gets
There
out.
is somebody though that we haven't mentioned that my good friend Sherrod Blakely may or may not
Yeah.
have mentioned
I
earlier
was waiting
today.
for you to. I was waiting for someone to cue that up. Come on, Sherrod.
Here it is. Here's the lob. Here's the lob. Where's my teammate?
He took that.
I'm not going.
He took down the
All right.
article. Oh, were you back
do you
in
mean?
your balking?
Let him
Balking
run.
on this thing?
Where is
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Celtics fans are pumped about it.
he? Wait,
Please,
wait.
what I
Did
said.
you
Just
hear what I
give the
said,
people
Sherrod?
what they want.
All right, let's tell everybody. Let's tell
You're
everybody
talking
what
about
we're
in his
talking
freedom, right?
No,
No,
DeMarcus
no,
Cousins.
you're
Your guy.
Your
Talking
article,
about
man.
the guy you wrote about.
What, Melo? My God, you're talking about my boy Cousins?
No.
Yes,
that one.
Oh,
yes.
there you go.
Yes.
Damn, how many
thank
of
you.
these
Damn.
did you write?
Damn, did you write this or did someone
God,
else write
this
this?
took us a long time.
Who wrote this? You got that chat GQ, whatever it is that
Actually,
that
I was
program?
looking for a horse for Bobby and his boy to ride in on, so I was a little bit distracted. That's
were
what I was
busy?
doing. I was literally looking for a
forgot.
horse.
I forgot about the
When-
metal one. That was your dude.
No, Sherrod, I laid up the idea of who you wrote about today. To you, I laid it up to you.
You talking about my guy Cousins? I wrote about
Yes.
Cousins today.
Yeah, it's talking
Someone
about
said
DeMarcus Cousins, damn it.
Someone said Sherrod has a
My
ghost
guy,
letter.
my
Talking
guy,
about
my
DeMarcus
guy is
Cousins.
Mello. My
Nice
guy
set-
is Mello. The guy I wrote about is Cousins.
nice
They're not the
setup, Jimmy.
same. My
He's
guy
your
is
guy-
Mello. I wrote
he's
about
your-
Cousins.
Well, he's your guy today.
Jimmy, you set him up. Sherrod knocks him down. That's
Yes.
how we do it on the Garden Report. It's smooth.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
That was
No,
great.
Cousins makes a lot of sense, though. Cousins makes so much sense, which is why it's probably not going to happen. You literally only need him for 10 to 15 minutes a game, and it's not going to be enough.
Can I ask you
Because
something,
I
Sherrod?
think Brad's going to. What's up?
And I want your honesty. Does Brad just dislike DeMarcus Cousins? I mean, think about the history of the reports and Celtics. Get Cousins. He's affordable. If the Celtics really wanted Cousins in those years,
Yeah.
it would have happened. Am I wrong?
Well,
Like
the
I feel like
problem-
Brad's not a
Just
fan
wait,
of DeMarcus.
The problem with him before was
They
that the
should
price
fight.
that you're going to have to pay and the potential for him to basically overrun your team was so much greater now. At this point in his career, he's happy to be one of 15.
Yeah, not going to happen.
You're
now.
not going to you don't have to worry about him overtaking your team, because if your team is not mentally
Yeah.
tough to deal with the 15th man, your team's got some mentally tough issues
Yeah, but
that
you're
need
right.
to work out.
It's been a
Everyone's
couple
assessing
years now, though.
Everyone's
If they
assessing
really
the
wanted
Boogie
him.
Cousins signing by how they felt 3 years ago when it was rumored as a possibility. It's
Right.
a totally different team. I totally agree with Sherrod. Veterans, he's on the Blake Griffin. He's on the Blake Griffin program right now. That's it.
He
you
is,
know?
but he's not a Blake Griffin
Exactly.
Right.
personality.
No,
that's
look,
the only
listen.
concern.
He's
I believe in it.
unemployed.
I mean,
What
we're talking.
choice does he have?
think
Yeah,
we're
he's
all-
got no choice.
Yeah,
I
he's
think we're all-
probably
We're all saying the same thing. Like no one
homeless
here
too, sure.
expects him to
Sean.
come in and demand touches and all that stuff. My point is, I just feel like Brad Stevens is just not a big fan of him because it would have happened already. Whether it
I
was
think
last
so,
year,
too.
2 years ago, 5 years ago, like they've had
That's
so
fair.
many opportunities to get this guy, and they
That's
just
fair. Dwight
they-
Howard too. You know,
there
like,
aren't even
that guy's not
reports
going to
about
be a
The Dwight
Celtic,
Howard
right.
one, I don't. I mean, damn.
No, but I agree with
for
Josue.
pennies.
If it hasn't happened yet,
Coulda used
considering the dude they had, what year? I mean, they were filling the back of their roster with like, who the hell is this guy? 10-day
Ryan.
contracts.
No.
You know, Joe Johnson's, Matt Ryan's, blah blah blah. They couldn't find
Johnson.
anybody, and you're like not gonna find spots. Like there was a million
they don't want him.
opportunities. Yeah.
No, they don't. There'll be a buyout guy
here's-
that's
here's-
somebody in the league right now that they'll end up with.
Cabin Galley.
I'm not so sure.
The guy
Go
that you
ahead.
had that
Go
you
ahead,
basically
Sherrod.
been putting on damn fucking 90 West back and forth for that's gonna
Now's
be
his
a
time to stay.
major
No.
addition.
The back and
They're-
forth is
Did it with
over.
Luke.
Their big addition is going to be Gallinari.
Yeah, if he wins MVP of the G League, you know Bobby's gonna let us hear about it.
Hey, I've been up there.
If
He's
God-
looking
yeah, if-
good.
Who? Jelly?
Yeah,
went?
You know
Galley.
what?
Jelly.
When did you go and why wasn't I invited?
Shavlik Randolph looked great in the Chinese Basketball Association, and how'd that work out?
Havlik, Rant. He was a shooter, man.
Shavlik was getting you 30 and
Good point.
15. 30 and 15 in the China. How'd that work out?
But here's
on.
what we're debating. We're
Here's the
debating
thing.
who the guy
Here's the
should be
thing.
who's not going to play.
John, you threw that out there, John, the Gallinari thing, and we just completely glossed over that.
Oh, that's right.
That would be huge.
We're talking about
That would be,
fakes.
and that would
He's-
make sense. Why?
He's
That
going to
would
be your.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
a 4. Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense.
And when's that supposed
If
to
I
he-
happen?
can't see him playing. John,
He
you
blew
know,
out
you know
his
the
ACL.
you know the.
I don't know
medicals more
anything.
than any of
Everybody's
us.
ACL is different, but the guy, like, he's there and
August.
he's there and he's
And he's
running.
traveling
Look,
all the
the-
time.
ACL
Yeah, I just saw
has
him.
changed. ACL
What
has
else he
changed a
gonna do?
lot. Yeah. It's
The
changed
thing
a
about
lot.
him
And-
is you're weighing the balance because he's a negative value, right? Because he's a 2-year deal. So you're gonna have to give up extra to include him in a deal, versus can he come back eventually, even if it's next year, and help you? Like, would you rather give up more
Well,
to
what
include
was
his
the
money in the
injury?
deal?
Eli?
August.
Yeah. It was August.
I mean,
But
that's
this
the
is-
thing. It's
June at earliest.
No.
Yeah, what are we talking
8 to
about
9 months is the
Playoffs.
short timetable of ACL,
Yeah.
which puts you back in March or April.
And he
So
might
I-
rush, right? Because this is
Playoffs,
the end of his
April.
career.
Yeah. So
That's a
it
good
put-
point, Bobby.
It's also his dream.
Yeah.
You know, his dad's a
That's
huge
the-
Celtics
that's what
fan.
you're
He's around
factoring
with
in
the
here.
team. He's traveling. Like if you knew,
And you only need 10 to 15 minutes from him.
and they never ruled him out for the year. I honestly think that, like, you might get to the point where they're like, yeah, he's not ready, which is very, very likely. But I still think they're holding out hope he returns. Like, they have not ruled him out for the year. I don't think.
Well, all we can say is you shouldn't.
no, they
count on
have.
I buy that. I buy that.
Yeah.
They haven't ruled
Zannis
him out.
MD.
It's
Someone
not,
said.
no, you know what? It was like that Gordon Hayward stuff for, where they were like, I don't know, maybe. And it kind of that
Right.
lingered. I actually think the plan with Gordon was if he's ready, he'll go. And it just didn't get there. Like I think with Gallinari, like I said, the short end of a timetable of ACL these days is 8 to 9 months. That puts you back in March or April if it's great. If not, some people are 12, 13 months and he's not even close. You're hoping for training camp next year if he's still a Celtic. Or he's traded and he's the salary that you move to get a piece that you can actually use. He'll be part of something though. Yeah.
Yeah, he can be traded. What's the date? By February, right?
It's now. It was
It's right
December.
now.
Yeah.
December. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
As we all know, ACL tears aren't that bad.
Not your second one though, on the same knee at 30.
It's not
something.
great. Look,
Clean break. Clean break. That's
Yeah.
the quote. That's the quote.
Man, we had that day or two, remember, where it was like meniscus, and we were like, yeah, and then like a couple of days later, they were like, never mind,
Yeah,
it was ACL.
I know.
yeah. They're like,
think-
he tore everything right.
Well, because it happened overseas. They screwed it up.
Those
Here we go,
European
Jimmy, with the
doctors.
Euro
Euros.
Damn it.
Euros, man.
Damn
I'll
it,
tell you
Jimmy.
what.
Euros,
Damn
man.
it.
We almost made
And I'm
it clean.
Italian. I can say it.
Well, that makes it better, Jimmy. That,
You
Yeah,
know any
right.
Italian?
Right.
Jimmy, you know any Italian?
I was definitely in a Greek hospital.
Not enough.
I was going to say, we should get you
I
down
don't
the
wanna
Garden
be-
for
I
the
don't wanna-
exclusive.
When
don't
I
wanna
was
be
younger, I
judged
was
by-
definitely
on
in a
my
Greek
vernacular
hospital where they
right
were
now.
smoking in the hallways, like definitely.
That I believe.
Yeah. Like I was like 9 or 10. I'm like, that's even I was like, that can't be good. That can't be the right thing to
But
do.
regardless of whether Gallinari's back
Everyone
or not,
smokes
to
out
bring this back to the Vonleh move they made, they need a wing. I think if we're talking, they need anything. We haven't seen enough of Hauser to say this guy can play in the playoffs. And if that continues, I think you do need another guy in the mix that you can say, all right, at least this guy can play. Like
A defender.
Yeah, and I've said Javonte Green. I think that makes a ton of sense given what he's played for them in the past, how he's done in
And
Chicago.
who's his guy? Who's Javonte's
Tatum.
BFF?
It makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
Yeah.
You can fit him in on a TP. You could trade for him today if you wanted to. TP into that
Yeah.
roster
Bulls
spot.
aren't done though.
Yeah, they're hanging. I mean,
Yeah.
do you see their record against the best teams in
Yeah,
the
they
East?
are.
8-1.
They kind of
You need
I
them-
think they're done. I don't
You need them to
Before-
lose a bit more.
Before we go, I'm going to read Jimmy's bold prediction on Noah Vonleh.
Oh, nice.
Noah
For the
Vonleh.
real quick. Before
Before you
you
start.
read it,
Yeah.
Take your time, John. Let me get
Point
I
is
some.
the-
had a weird day, you know. I had lots going on.
the
that
point
day.
of these bold predictions, they're supposed to be funny, and they should
Yes.
pretty
Bold.
much be wrong. If all your bold predictions were right, guess what? They weren't bold. That being said, John, go.
Yeah, cue
First
the
of all,
violin.
not only is Jimmy's 1,000% right, and I in fact had to go back to the guys and say these aren't very bold guys. Can we get bolder? So Jimmy came up and over the top with some of his in the spirit of the piece.
Just read
and,
it.
and so he's 100% right. Noah Vonleh becomes the new fan favorite. Noah's Ark, folks. I think this guy still has plenty left in the tank. With Throb Williams once again on the mend, the local guy Vonleh gets his shot. Could he average a double-double? If the Celtics let him play, bet the house
If
on
they
it.
let him play, they never let him
Average
play.
a double-double.
A double.
They didn't let him.
That's where you
I
took
forgot.
it. That's
I
where you
forgot
took
about
it
that part.
from the cute and clever to the absurd at the end. You know?
You were
I was
so
like-
close, Jimmy.
I was like,
And then he
and
played
now
the
it's
first
bold.
couple
No
Now
games.
it's bold.
No one even averages it. Barely
And
averages.
Jimmy was
double-double right
puffing
now.
his chest out.
Yeah,
in the beginning,
he was like, oh man, 20 minutes opening night. Look at him go.
But you know what it was? Also, the
I
refs had
love
it
that
out for him.
prediction.
The refs had it out for him.
Oh,
They
he
kept
fouled
calling
so
foul-
much.
They were calling so many fouls on my guy. It's okay.
Bet the
It's
house.
okay, Noah.
Oh,
If it's
man.
not Boston, it's the next team.
That was good
There
stuff.
you go. That's the spirit, Jimmy.
All right, 0 for
That's
1
the
on 0 for 1. Now,
I love it.
All right, John. Now do one of yours.
Mine are terrible. I'll bring them back up. I can't remember what they
Yeah.
are
What's
though.
the worst
Shit.
one?
I can't remember.
Probably.
Well, we could bring up one and
I said that they would. I said that Derek White might actually be left behind on some road trip. That hasn't happened yet.
yeah, like the lead singer in Almost Famous.
Yeah, it just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was bold too, because that
Yeah.
would be that's rare.
You guys can check it out. It's in there if anyone wants to go look at it.
You know what though? I also said that you didn't put in there, John. I think unless I didn't say it, I said Noah Vonleh's going to play more minutes than Rob Williams. I'm not sure. That might
said
still
that?
that might still be true. That might still be true. I'd have to
That
compare
was in the
numbers.
draft. He cut that one out.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not like Rob's playing that many minutes right now. If Vonleh got playing time, it would have been.
Yeah, you guys can check out that piece, or Amit, you can put it in the
John-
chat if you want. It's pretty
that part
fun.
was like.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
You don't have to. You don't have to check it out.
We'll go over them all at the end of the season.
We will. I'm
Oh
trying to,
man, Jimmy Toscano. Brogdon plays 82 games.
Yeah, that's another one I missed out on. That was bold. That was bold.
82.
That was bold.
No one
Bro,
does that
dude.
anymore.
If he played 80, that would have
Josue
been like,
Pavon, the Sam
accurate.
Hauser hype is real. Manning lost season for. I said the
He missed
Celtics
about
trade.
half of it.
I have the Celtics trade grant during the season. Still possible.
That's still possible.
Yeah.
He would be devastated though. Oh man.
Oh man,
That'd be tough.
So possible.
Toscano says White gets traded.
he also said no.
Luke
he also
Cornett
That's not
logs.
happening.
Luke Cornett logs more DNP CDs than games played. Bobby, where are we on that? Are we close?
He's playing mostly every night. He played tonight.
Pavone, Gallinari.
He plays a lot of
returns to
blowout
play.
games,
Yeah.
John. That's
Gallinari, what?
weird.
What did I say?
And I had Ime finishes the season as a head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, which almost came to fruition. I missed that.
That was very.
Oh,
that
that
would
was
have been
great.
huge.
That was very close.
Yeah, I missed that one. I felt that one was easy, but anyway.
Speaking of
Ga-
Gallinari, Josue's got him returning in here.
Yeah, he has him. Guys, I'm going
Not
to
averaging a double-double though.
wrap. We put the
Not
piece
bold
up there,
enough,
guys.
then.
Check it out. It was a fun thing to write. And again, as Jimmy said, the point of it was to kind of sort of predict, but really also to go out on some limbs here. So Some people
Make
took
your
it
point in a preposterous way, kind of.
in a preposterous way, exactly. And we're nothing if not preposterous. So again, thank you guys for hanging out. Celtics get back on track. They beat the Mavericks easily, going away 124-98. Triple-double for Jason Tatum, who is 4th in the All-Star voting among Eastern Conference front court players. Jaylen Brown 4th among guards. Was going to address some of that tonight,
That's
but
a
if we
stat
do,
from him.
that's going to go off the rails, so we're not going to do that right now. But it is possible. Again, fan vote only counts for 50%. Neither of those guys starts, which seems ludicrous because Jason Tatum's a top 3 MVP candidate right now. But it's
Tatum's
weird.
be a lock.
People on this show need to get out and vote a little bit more.
Fans are weird. Yeah.
watching the
Anyway,
show, I mean.
yeah. But again, it's just round 1. So
Tatum will
there's,
start. Tatum's going to start. He'll pass Embiid.
They need him.
Yeah, he'll pass Embiid.
Oh, pass and be. Oh, you mean like
So Durant's going to be the center?
Yes.
Yeah.
small ball?
Small ball. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it. Thanks again for hanging
Oh, no,
out.
he's 7
Jimmy
feet, man, I
Toscano, Jimmy Noah's Ark Toscano, Bobby Manning, Josue Pavon, Sherrod Blakely.
Check out Josue in
Okay.
Dallas. Celtics All Access.
Thank you.
check
Yes.
me out.
Please do that.
Oh
Support
yeah,
our
Josue,
sponsors.
where's that cowboy hat, bro?
Oh,
Y'all?
I forgot all about that.
Damn, dude.
You have one?
No. I was going to
Josue,
go buy one.
Let's
There's
see
gotta
your
be one sitting around
you
the
have
People
Spurs?
walking around Boston with
You
that.
have
Josue-
Spurs, though, right?
Josue is wearing
No.
boots with Spurs.
No, no, I'm not.
Boots with the
You
Spurs.
could
You
rock
were
that
supposed to
and
do
maybe
the
get
hat.
away with it. Yeah.
Around here, I probably could.
Yeah.
Not back
John,
home, though.
let's send him to San Antonio. Why not?
He's right down the road.
He's
Right
right
there.
there. We'll send him to San Antonio, but he has to wear a full cowboy costume.
Yeah.
And then just leave.
No. You have to report live from there in that costume.
Good night, everybody.